Good evening, everyone. This is Chris Sanders. Napakasama guys. Sorry lang sa mga technical difficulties. Kaya medyo nadali yung start natin. Pero nonetheless, tonight we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting topics na nangyari this week. And what we'll do muna is just if we can share the link, I'm just going to share it lang before we get started para more people can join us and mapag-usapan natin yung mga hot topics sa linggong to. So, but I'm so curious talaga, sino mga online right now eh. So, if you guys can just chime in, I'd love to see who's live right now in the comment section and we'll go from there. Pero alam mo guys, yung interesting talaga sa political scene natin, hindi lang nangyayari yan sa Pilipinas. Nangyayari din yan sa buong mundo. At pag-uusapan natin right now is not just local politics. Pag-uusapan din natin is what's going on in international politics, alright? So, ayan, so nakikita ko na yung mga tao ngayon, si Martin Masadao, present, Mami Ranch, hello, and Edwin Barredo, alright. So, actually, Dennis Ang, yeah, hey Dennis, kumusta? Okay, so, this week, there were so many things happening, and let me know if I missed any important, mga important events o mga kaganapan, ano? So, just put it in the comment section para mababasa ko lang yung mga comments yun at saka mapag-usapan natin mga particular topics na gusto nyo talagang mapag-usapan. Pero I'll start with my, some of the things that happened this week, yung pagiging DepEd Secretary ni Angara, replacing Sara Duterte. What do you guys think of that? I'm curious, ano yung mga thoughts nyo with regards to Angara and how you think he's going to perform. Now, while I wait for the comments to come up for this, for me, I really think Angara will definitely do a good job compared to Sara Duterte. Ngayon, ang weird lang sa akin, a couple of things that happened there. Number one, sinabi ni Angara na itutuloy daw niya yung mga accomplishments or achievements ni Sara Duterte. What achievements is he talking about? What accomplishments? Wala akong maisip na kahit na isang accomplishment eh. So, the way I see it, Angara's playing politics. Yun lang yun. Namumulitika lang siya. Trying to be diplomatic, trying to be nice, trying to not make the person look bad. Kasi nga, it looks bad nga na bumitaw si Sara Duterte ng DepEd na posisyon eh, di ba? Tapos, beyond that, maybe you know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking about it, I might just try to see if I can invite Sunny Angara to join us here para makita natin lahat at makausap natin siya lahat. At malaman nga natin kung ano ba nasa isip niya ano bang balak niya gawin sa DepEd. Because DepEd is a very important sector. As most of you know, what is it? Like, we are at the bottom of the PISA testing all over the world. Ito yung international test they do on comprehension, reading skills, math, creativity. Philippines ranks last or second to the last. It's really embarrassing. Karamihan sa ating mga kababayan can't even read or write, nor do they even understand kung ano ba yung mga binabasa nila. Alam mo, hindi ko din mabintang yung ating mga kababayan sa problemang to eh. Kasi kung ito lang talaga yung pinapresenta sa atin, like for example, yung mga teachers natin, are not that well versed and they're not good at communicating. Tapos they're trying to teach people how to communicate. Siyempre, kung compromise na yung teachers mo, by the time umabot sa mga estudyante, compromise din talaga sila. So, lalong lumalala yung problema. And I think yun ang kailangan natin ayusin para mag-improve talaga yung ating ekonomiya at ang ating bansa. Okay, so, before I talk about the second part that I found weird about what's happening sa DepEd, gigreet ko lang muna yung mga viewers natin. Okay, si Jenny Pai. Hi, Jenny. Pag-usapan daw yung Gilas game. Okay. Hello, Kristan. Good afternoon. Watching from Jeddah, KSA. O si Evangelito Dalangin. And Reynaldo Castanero. Good evening. Hello po. May iba naman po, Trump or Biden? Yes, actually, we are going to talk about Trump or Biden. At sino mas nakakabuti para sa Pilipinas in the issue of West Philippine Sea. Definitely we'll talk about that. So stick around. We're going to be discussing that. So ang sabi ni Lala Luna, I just hope Angara will answer all of the questions that will be thrown onto him, unlike Sara. She always responds with no comment. Yes, the problem with Sara Duterte is talagang ayaw niya masyado magkaroon ng mga press cons, nor answer questions from reporters, nor even answer questions from senators and even congresspeople. she really avoids debates, discussions, and even to talk. It's weird kasi I think alam din niya na the less she talks, the more she maintains her popularity. Pero the more she talks, lalo na babawasan. Pero ngayon kasi, dahil sa non-action niya or non-speaking niya, naapektado na rin siya at na-affect din siya nung tatay niya at saka yung mga sinasabi ng tatay niya. Okay, so with regards to the DepEd, I just want to bring up yung sinabi ni BBM regarding the DepEd. Sinabi niya kay Angara that one of his directives was to promote and be able to teach Philippine history again. This gets a little bit scary kasi anong ba yung pag-uusapan ba natin dito at ituturo sa ating mga kabataan moving forward? Is this revised history or is it the actual history? Now that Marcos is in power, of course, BBM is going to try to clean up his name. And for those that don't know, may kaibigan akong na may-ari ng schools. May mga kaibigan akong may-ari ng schools. Naalala ko yung isa sa kanila, binanggit sa akin na napansin niya, since over a decade ago, must have been at least 2 decades ago, na napalitan na daw yung mga libro natin regarding Philippine history. Quietly done. It was revised already. Tinanggal na yung mga certain terms like dictator or kaya napalitan yung kwento ng martial law or nung EDSA Revolution. I'm not sure. I haven't seen those books. Pero from what I hear, they actually minimized and took out the impact of martial law and what the Marcos family did, Marcos Sr. did during that time. You guys can please, if you have kids, maybe have a look at your textbook on Philippine history para malaman nga natin kung ito ba yung nangyayari ngayon o hindi. This is alarming because if you revise history, then we never learn from history. And I can't imagine why Marcos Jr. or BBM would not want to revise history. I mean, considering his family was demonized because of the actions of his father, maybe he's going to try to do that. Let's see what happens. I want to hear your thoughts on it, okay? So, mas magaling ka pa sa mga ibang senators, sir. Bilib ako sa'yo. Less thunder. Hello, Irene C. Looking forward to another round of intellectual opinions and interactive discussion. Topic suggestion, can Alice go be given immunity if she rats on her fellow corrupt immigrants? Okay. Sige, let's talk about those in a bit. Okay. I just hope that Angara will answer, or yeah, I already mentioned that. And then, mas okay sana if Lenny, since she's the only candidate last 2022 to be recognized that there's an educational crisis. Though at some point it will be like putting her again in the lion's den. Sabi ni Dame Monique Velasco, alam mo, sa akin, I was just talking to somebody kanina lang, about being put in the lion's den. Lenny can handle the lion's den. She's a very tough woman. So I have no issue with her being able to handle it. I think she'll be able to handle it really well. Philippines needs to teach history so that we don't repeat it. Yes, La Luna, I agree. I really hope lang it's the correct history or the actual factual history that's going to be dictated here. So yun yung isang headline natin this week. Another headline this week is Trillanes finally filing charges against Duterte and his cohorts. Ang tanong ko sa inyo lahat, tingin ba nyo magpo-flourish yan sa ating justice system dito sa Pilipinas? I'd like to be hopeful at tingnan natin, pero alam mo, sa totoo lang tingin ko okay, I'm gonna be, as much as I want to be hopeful, I think I'm gonna be a pessimist about this. I don't think na magpo-flourish to kasong to. I don't think that an arrest warrant will be issued against Duterte. It seems like he is above the law. I hate to say it, pero that's what it seems like right now. I don't think our government has the balls to be able to go after Duterte. But, having said that, medyo nabibilib ako sa Kongreso natin for even trying to invite him for the congressional hearing. Problem is, he didn't attend. Bato didn't attend either. Nasnab talaga nila yung congressional hearing. Maybe if they're able to issue a subpoena, tapos kung hindi gawin ni Duterte, well, then arrest warrant na yan. Then, hey, then tingnan natin talaga kung may ipin talaga ang ating Kongreso. Kung hindi kaya ng ating judicial system. And the more that this government and all branches of it do not act against Duterte for all of the BS that he's been doing, even as a former president, lalong na-embolden si Duterte at lalo siyang tumatapang. At lalong tingin niya na kaya niya to get away with anything, including murder.
With this sword, I shall command the water. With this sword...
Okay, ang latest tirade ni Duterte, sinabi niya na alam daw niya kung nasan si Kibuloy. Alam mo ba, if this was any normal human or normal Filipino, nakulong na yan ngayon pa lang. Dinampot na yan ng polis at kinulong na yan. Okay, you're an accessory kaya yan, or you're complicit. May batas yan that if you know where a fugitive is hiding and you don't say anything, you're actually, ano ba yan? Complicit or... I forget what the word is. If you guys can tell me what the word is, I'd appreciate it. So that's what happens talaga when you give this former president too much leeway. Tapos ito naman si Robin Padilla talaga, no? Alam mo, hindi talaga yung senador ng ating mga mamamayan at ng ating bansa, eh. Senador yan ni Duterte, eh. Palagi na lang yan, dinedefend si Duterte, si Kibuloy, at lahat ng mga mali sa buong mundo. Lahat na lang ng mga mali na ginagawa ng mga kasama niya, mga kasabot niya, dinedefend niya. Dapat dinedefend niya yung mga taong bayan, yung mga biktima. Hindi yung mga taong mga pangyarihan tulad ng mga to. Ginagawa pa niya sila pa yung mga biktima. Ay, yun ang problema talaga natin pag ganito yung ating mga senador na binoboto, di ba? Kaya sana talaga natuto na tayo dito. So yun, yung isa pang nangyari doon. Now, let's go on and let's talk about our 4 topics, and it's going to be a versus topic for this live stream. So, first we're going to be talking about Binay versus Cayetano. Tapos naman, pag-uusapan natin si Trump versus Biden. Next, pag-uusapan din natin is the Ukraine versus Russia. And last but not least, we're going to talk about yung Palestine versus Israel. And I am sure these topics hindi tayo lahat pagkakasundo sa ating mga opinion at okay lang yon. Ang importante dito is makinig tayo sa isa't isa para maintindihan natin yung dalawang pananaw at makita natin kung tama ba sila o baka tayo ang mali. Diba? Yun naman ang punto ng pakikipag-usap at pagkakaroon ng diskusyon na tulad nito. Is makita natin yung side ng kabilang side at baka nga may punto naman sila at malay mo, tama naman pala sila at ikaw yung mali. Diba? So yun ang kailangan natin gawin dito. Alright? So, let's I'm gonna greet some people here in the comment section before we get started. Alright, so si Ray Bermudez, hello, watching from London, England. Wow, I'm gonna be in Europe next month. So, hi Christian from UK, always looking forward to your vlogs. You're one of the few with may katuturan ng opinions. Thank you, Hal. And Edwin Barredo, for me, I don't think Angara is qualified. Parang salita lang siya. He is just politicizing his past work in Senate mo. He's always playing safe and sometimes playing balimbing. Edwin, may punto ka dyan sa sinabi mo na totoo naman siya Angara nga naman. Paminsan-minsan, ang dating nga niya sa akin is he plays it safe. There are a lot of senators that play safe. I actually know a few of them. And some of them are friends of mine or people that I know. And yes, but I understand why they play it safe. Yun ang problema. Yun ang mga binoboto natin eh. You want labanan, you want debate, you want mga magagandang diskusyon. Then kailangan natin maglagay ng mga tao doon na marunong makipagdebate at marunong magsalita at marunong mag-isip. At may pinaninindigan. Yun ang importante. Karamihan ng ating mga senador, kung hindi baluktot na yung pag-iisip, walang pinaninindigan. I can name you only one person that I see na talagang may pinaninindigan. And you guys know who I'm gonna talk about. Who is that senator that has been consistent sa kanyang prinsipyo at sa kanyang pinaninindigan? Isa lang yan. Alam mo na kung sino sasabihin ko, sino tingin niyo yun, guys. I'm gonna wait for a comment section before I'm gonna tell you who it is. So, Robin Padilla is a true blue bopol. Let's vote Robin Padilla for next president of the Philippines. Okay. Being funny siguro itong si Tita Lola, accomplice. I agree with you, Mr. Barredo. Mr. Barredo said, yeah, si Angara is just like his father, always on the safe side. Galing maglaro, parating silent. Yep. Obstruction of justice. Yeah, rambling heaven. Thank you. Yun na pala ginawa ni Duterte. He's an obstruction to justice, kaya pwedeng makulong yun. Alright. So, ang sinasabi natin, correct kayo lahat dito. The only senator na may pinaninindigan, okay, at may pinaglalaban, at may prinsipyo, si Riza Hontiveros. Yun lang. Siya lang ang nakikita ko na talagang malakas ang loob, na humaharap at lumalaban na kahit sino pang kaharap. Yan ang totoong leader. Yan ang totoong may pinaninindigan. Yan ang dapat natin binoboto sa lahat ng pwedeng posisyon. Okay? At nagpapasalamat talaga ako na hindi pa tapos yung kanyang term dahil, oh my God, nakita mo naman yung mga tatakbo, mga senatorial votes for this election, di ba? Malala. Sobrang malala yan. Hindi lang yon. Meron tayong, did I say 5 or before or 7 re-electionists? I am not voting for any of these re-electionists. Not one of them. All of them in my books failed as senators. Nakakahiya sila bilang senador. Kaya lahat sila hindi ko iboboto, okay? So you like Gatchalian. Yeah, Senator Gatchalian's doing well din naman. Well, Miriam Santiago, but she's not here anymore, okay? So, yes, Riza is the only one that can be called honorable. Gatchalian actually is also redeeming himself from voting to bring in the Pogos. He's redeeming himself. Ngayon lang siya siguro nagkakaroon ng backbone at medyo tumatapang at nakikita siguro din niya yung suporta ng mga tao sa mga ginagawa niya kaya lalo na siyang lumalakas sa loob. Okay. Walang dignidad daw karamihan ng mga senador, sabi ni Edwin. Alam mo sa akin, kaya nga karamihan ng mga senador hindi ko matawagan ng honorable Kasi they have no honor. Remember, there's several of them that are convicted felons, proven to be corrupt, proven to have, done a lot of BS. Kaya nakakapagtaka talaga yun ang mga pinapanalo natin. So, okay. So, let's talk about the Senate. Kung hindi pa nyo napanood, yung away ni Nel Cayetano at Binay, this is because of the 23 billion peso Senate building being built in the BGC area. What do you guys think about this? Alam mo, for me kasi, ito lang yung thoughts ko dito. Naggawa ako ng poll on Twitter pala the other day. And I wanted to see how people were gonna vote. Kanino sila kakampi. What was interesting for me was 95% of all the votes were siding with Binay. I never thought I would see that day. But then again, siguro against Cayetano, you would probably side with Binay. I'm curious kung meron bang mga tao dito na nanonood ngayon na pumakampi kay Cayetano dito. But let's just go over ano ba yung pinag-aawayan nila o ano ba yung debate dito. Ito yun Si Cayetano kasi, iniimbestiga niya yung ginagastos nila na 23 billion pesos para sa Senate building. At nagtataka sila paano umabot ng 23 billion pesos. Kasi yung original na budget na in-approve dito was parang 8 billion lang ata if I remember correctly. Paano tayo umabot ng 23 billion? Ngayon, I have no issue with Cayetano doing this investigation and I think this is a good thing. Ang natatawa lang ako kasi then Binay shows up and then she keeps insisting, ano itong sinasabi ni Cayetano at ni Chis Escudero na 23 billion when it's only 21.7 billion. So it's 1.3 billion pesos off. Okay, I think nami-miss ni Bina yung point dito. Ang punto natin dito ay bakit umabot ng ganyang kalaki? Whether it's 21.7 billion or 23 billion. Either way, it still is very expensive and it's insane given that ang taas na ng ating national budget at ang taas na ng ating national debt dahil sa continuous na paggagastos ng ating gobyerno ng pera ng ating bansa. And they are spending the money na parang unlimited to Yun yung nakakatakot. Remember that before Duterte's administration, the national budget was only 2.4 trillion. Around there. Then when Duterte came into power, it started to creep up and then it doubled to over 5 trillion pesos by 2020. Panahon ng pandemya. Yung kakalimutan yan And like I've always said, and I'm gonna keep repeating it para sa mga hindi pa may alam na itong information na to, na nung 2020, Duterte borrowed about for 2020 to 2022, he borrowed about 5.4 trillion pesos. Our national debt that time was only 5 trillion, 5 point something. So, dinoble niya yung hiniram niyang pera in 2 years. At ang rason niya is yung pandemya. Pero saan niya ginamit yung pera talaga? Pinalaki niya yung congressional budget ng kanyang anak na pinakamalaki sa lahat ng mga kongreso. Remember, a congressman only gets 500 million. He got 551 billion in 3 years. And then he increased his confidential funds from 500 million noong panahon ni Pinoy to almost 5 billion, 4.5 billion pesos, 9 times more. Okay? So, kaya may issue tayo ngayon dito sa Senate building na pinagagawa nila for a price of, let's say, we'll go with Binay's estimate, 21.7 billion. Either way, mahal yan. And here's the irony sa mga may hindi alam. Alam ba nyo na yung contractor that won the bid for the Senate building is Hillmark Construction Company. The same company na nagtayo nung Makati City Hall na overpriced na tinayo nung kanyang tatay at ni Junjun Binay. Kung naalala niyo yun, nung time yun, it was ridiculously overpriced na yung toilet nakita nila was priced at 120,000 pesos, pero isang toilet 120,000 pesos. Ano yung toilet na yan? Ginto? Dahil ang regular toilet, nung chinek nila kung magkano yung presyo ng toilet, it was only parang 10,000 pesos lang. They overpriced it by sus Mario Sepao. What an insane amount to overprice it, di ba? Ganun kagarapal yung ginawa ng mga Binay. But mind you, whatever Jojo Binay did and Junjun Binay, I'm not gonna throw it at Nancy Binay. Maybe she's different. I want to give her that benefit of the doubt. And I think naman as a senator, medyo naman mas matino naman siya ata kumpara sa mga kapatid niya at sa tatay niya. So, yun yung interesting dito is, although I don't like Cayetano and I don't like how he, honestly, medyo may pagka, si Cayetano, meron siyang attitude na parang he thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Di ba may pagka-snooty yung dating niya? Mayabang si Cayetano tapos medyo condescending siya magsalita Di ba? Pag kinakausap mo isang tao, parang ang taas-taas niya, sa baba mo pag kinakausap ka. Pero, I would love to see Cayetano, like, come on, let's debate, di ba? Kasi yung mga tulad niya talaga, hindi lang nakakaharap sa mga marunong magdebate Kaya ganyan siya katapang So, but either way, okay itong investigation na to, and I think let's find out nga kung bakit umabot ng ganitong kalaki. And ang rason na sinasabi ni Binay is because yung 8 billion daw was parang phase 1 lang daw yun. May phase 2 pa daw. Tapos may phase 3. Ito daw yung phase 3 kaya wow na 23 billion. What I don't understand is this. Merong isang tile silang gagamitin dito that, did you guys hear about it? This tile was worth like parang 40,000-50,000 pesos worth of tile. Mas mahal pa siya sa lupa. And it's a piece of tile na gagamitin sa Senate building. I think that's a little bit too much. I don't mind having a nice Senate building, but that is a little bit too much. That's ridiculous already. So, I really hope we get to the bottom of this. Although, I don't think that price tag is gonna go down, by the way. Kasi mukhang kailangan na lagastusin yun. Kasi andun Ginawa na Kailangan na mabayaran yung contractor Sana walang ginawang kalokohan itong contractor na to. Pero parang may narinig ako, sinabi ng contractor na they were happy to get this though. They want to make it up daw para to show people na matinong kumpanya naman daw sila. And they might be a matinong kumpanya. I don't know. It's just coincidental that it's Binay again, same contractor and same issue with the building. And I really hope sana lang everything's above board. But if not, then dapat may maparusahan kung may kalokohan na nangyari dun sa Senate building na to. So kanino kayo kampi dito? Alright? Kay Cayetano ba kayo o kay Binay? At what do you guys have to say about this? People are saying I'm gonna read some of the comments Si main course, sabi niya, what Binay is complaining was the insinuations of Cayetano. Yes, I agree with that. But Cayetano has to be careful with accusations. Make sure that you have the data and the facts before you do that. But again, the investigation is good because we're gonna find out talaga kung anong katotohanan dito. It was not about the price, it was a separate issue, okay? Main, ano ba yung issue kundi yung presyo? Dave Monique Velasquez, yung 10 billion na project na Cayetano sa ASEAN, nangyari na. Same with before sa Makati Car Park na yun, pare-pareho lang sila. Cayetano Intriguero, puro paninira lang ang alam nung hanggang pa siya. Hanggang ngayon. Noon hanggang ngayon. Sorry. Okay. The Senate building design is quite ugly. to amount to 20 billion. Alam mo yung design kumpara sa totoong building, malayo kaya nagtataka ako kung sinundan ba na yung specifications nung design. Because the design looked really interesting. Okay, so, spending is out of control here in the US too. Thanks, Biden. Lalalo na. Okay, later we're gonna talk about Biden and Trump. Okay, Cayetano failed to give 10K. Yeah, so may lumabas nga na video, may nag-comment dun sa tweet ko na pinapakita niya na Cayetano was talking to Banat Bay and Mocha, if I'm not mistaken. Tapos pinag-uusapan nila o magkano yung babayaran nila para mag-spread ng propaganda nila. Wow! Para nakita mo hindi lala may camera nakatutok sa kanila at na-capture yung audio. Siguro naka-boom mic yun kaya umabot yung audio doon. It's very interesting to show na talagang gumagamit talaga sila ng mga troll army at mga trolls na tulad ni Banat Bay. At sa mga may hindi alam, totoo namang ba yun siya? I don't think he denies it anymore. Okay, mahal na kaldero ni Cayetano. Ibalik na lang ni Senado lumang legislative building. So, next, 23 billion kay 21 billion, almost 1 billion per senator. Tapos, maisip mo pa, mag-opisina lang doon, mga katulad ni Robin, Lito Lapid at Bato, and a bunch of Cayetanos, Villars, etc. Mapapaiyak ka talaga. By the way, thanks to Dedet for the donation. Wow, I appreciate that, guys. No matter what, the fact that you guys are giving, it's really a great sign of support, and I really appreciate that. Okay, they're the same in the different strategies, sabi ng Exotica Britannica. Wala akong kakampi, pero inis ako kay Cayetano 10,000 pa noon. Noon pa. Bully guy Cayetano. Yeah, Cayetano is a little bit of a bully. And bullies don't like pag may lumalaban sa kanila. Okay? Cayetano is best in argument and bully senator, but deny too much corruption noon at ngayon. Yeah, okay. Si Dennis both are dynasty senators, pathetic daw. No to the Binay dynasty, no to the Cayetano dynasty. Absolutely. Okay, why don't they refurbish the Manila Film Center and make it a new Senate building? Martin Masadaw. Okay, you know ang opinion ko, binanggit ko na to a few years ago nung nalaman ko that they were building the Senate in BGC. Alam mo, I truly believe that they are just gonna add to the congestion problem in BGC by having the Senate building there. I truly believe na dapat ang ginawa nila ay nilagay nila yung Senate building in a far-flung area. Maybe in the province. I think that siguro dapat yung Senate nasa Visayas and yung Congress nasa Mindanao, whichever. This will actually improve these areas and create a Philippines na mas kalat siya. In other words, business is going to thrive kasi wherever these government agencies are placed. Okay, it will create a small economy in that area, a local economy. Not only that, it will improve domestic travel as well. And that will actually improve the economy. So the economy will be going around more. So it's going to move the money around better. And that actually improves the economy in that sense. Kaya that's, I think, what they should have done. Rather than putting it in BGC na maskip na ngayon, it doesn't make sense. They just want to make it there to make it more convenient para sa BGC na rin sila. Nakikiuso sila o nakikisabay. Come on, guys. Or maybe put it in a new area sa New Valley or sa may south of yung bagong area sa may dating food terminal. Yun. Arca ba yun or something? Arca South. Basta, whichever. Ilagay na lang somewhere else. Why does it have to be in BGC? Where it's already congested. Alam mo, yun hindi ko maintindihan sa ating mga mambabatas They're not thinking in terms of being able to parang lessen the urbanization in certain areas. Sobrang urbanized sa Metro Manila. Come on, let's spread the wealth, guys. Ikalat natin to. Kaya nga natutuwa ako sa mga call centers and what it's doing because of the call centers now, a lot of the provincial areas are flourishing. All the way from Iloilo to Pampanga to Bacolod to everywhere. There are call centers now hiring people so they don't have to come to Manila to work. That's what our government should be doing. At going to BGC, spending 23 billion, my God, you could do so much better than that. Okay? So, alright. Pero sabi ni main course, agree, I don't think it should be in Metro Manila. Tapos sabi ni Irene, sanaying Filipino, anong purpose? Yeah, Arca South, right. Si Mary Grace Santos, sabi nga niya. So, feeling Gen Z to mga senators para doon ilagay Senate building. Okay. You know, for me, I don't think naman our senators are, I went there to visit the Senate last month, ano, and I was actually studying it, and I think that the senators, um, it wasn't really this batch of senators naman that proposed the BGC move. It was two batches before them. So, I can't really blame them. Pero sana lang talaga they thought about it. Now we're spending 23 billion pesos. So, that's my thoughts on the issue with regards to Cayetano and Binay. It's a good thing na ini-investigate. Let's just hope it's not a witch hunt. Sana may basihan talaga to. At sana talaga by this investigation, either babawasan yung cost, which I doubt. Kung hindi man lang mabawasan, at least find out for transparency paano umabot dito. Because when I saw that first contract, it didn't look like it was phase 1. It looked like that was the entire contract. And for me, 23 billion for a building is just way too much. Okay? And for those that are wondering how big or small 23 billion is, don't forget, Pulong got 26 billion in 1 year for his district. The Makati City budget is probably, I think it's about, if I remember correctly, about 20 billion for 1 year for all the employees of Makati City Hall and to pay for all the staff and for all the services. And yet, Pulong got that in 1 year for his district. Not even the entire Davao, just for his district. Ganun kalala ang corruption natin. Depende talaga kung sino ang nasa administrasyon. Ano? Okay, so, guys, let's talk about thank you, Rambling Heaven. Rambling Heaven has a question. Do we need a new Senate building? Work from home na lang sila. Alam mo, I think, yes, you do need a Senate building. Kasi right now, they're renting lang from where they're at right now, they're just renting there. So this one, they're gonna own it talaga. Kaya okay lang din na nagkaroon ng Senate building. The problem lang nga talaga is the location. Sana lang talaga hindi na lang yung binili. Kasi if they bought a property outside of Metro Manila, it would have been a lot less, a lot bigger, and they would have spent less also in the construction. And again, it would develop that area, that local community. It will create jobs. It will create businesses. Okay, and that's the good thing about it. That sana they thought of when they did this. Okay, all right. So that's my thoughts on the Binay versus Cayetano issue. Okay, next. Let's talk about our next issue. Did you guys watch the Biden versus Trump debate? Okay, that was so interesting. And I'm curious, while I'm gonna be talking about this, gusto ko makita din kung ano ba yung mga posisyon ng tao dito at sino ba sinusuportahan nila. Si Biden ba o si Trump? Sino gusto niyo manalo dito at bakit? Okay, for me, ganito yan. Nung napanood ko yan, I already was worried because I know Biden, medyo talagang paminsan-minsan sumasablay talaga siya. Nung napanood ko yung debate, grabe, I was cringing. Ang hirap panuorin si Biden. Nakakaawa siyang panuorin. Yung tulala siya, parang hindi niya alam kung nasan siya. Sumasagot siya biglang he gets lost in his own words. And it was really bad. It was so painful to watch. You know, I remember when my dad, before he passed away, parang ganun siya eh. Yung may dementia dad ko, by the way. And in the last year, he was alive. And nung nakita ko si Biden doing that, I was like, wow, yung kinakausap mo parang blank stare. Yung hindi mo alam kung nakatingin ba sa'yo o hindi. Parang ganun, no? Yung ganyan, hindi mo alam nakatingin ba ako sa camera o hindi. Ganun yung ginagawa ni Biden. Natawa nga ako na si Trump, hindi na nga si Trump nakipagdebate kay Biden eh. Sinabi lang niya, I don't understand what he's saying. Actually, Trump was easy on him, to be honest with you. He could have been so much harsher. But you know why he did that, di ba? Kasi, he didn't want to look like a bully. Kasi, he didn't have to do anything. Biden was doing it all by himself. Biden was damaging himself all by himself. Trump, all he had to do was look. If Trump did anything to make fun of Biden in his condition, he would have lost that. But smart yung ginawa ni Trump. Wala siyang ginawa. Madali na yun. That was so politically savvy of him to do that. Now, regarding naman Trump, for me kasi, ang problem ko kay Trump kasi is yung January 6th insurrection eh. You know, the fact that he wanted to stop the counting of the ballots as much as whether he believes that he really got cheated on this or not, I don't know. Pero mukhang wala naman talagang pinakitang ebidensya na may cheating na nangyayari. He has to accept the will of the people. And if you looked at the polling anyway, it looked like he wasn't gonna win. So yun yung nakakatakot dito when you have a sitting president that was willing to subvert the democratic elections just so he can stay in power. That is frightening for someone to have that kind of an ego that it was almost authoritarian yung ginawa niya. Yun yung nakakatakot dito. But I want to know what you guys think. Okay, I really want to think I want to see, do you guys side with Trump or Biden and why? So I'm going to read some of your comments right now, alright? So, sabi dito, I think Trump will win. Yeah, there's a good chance he will. Laura Castro, Trump for president. Trump is pro-Bitcoin. What do you think? Sabi ni King Neil. Yeah, I know. You know, King Neil, I don't think he's really pro-Bitcoin. I think he's just saying it to pander to the Bitcoin audience. Kasi when you hear how he talks about Bitcoin, hindi niya naiintindihan ng Bitcoin eh. Parang naalala ko yung si BBM, tinanong siya about cryptocurrency. May sinabi siya about crypto nung pinapakinggan ko, natatawa ako kasi it was all generalizations, it was all highfalutin words at walang laman talaga yung sinabi niya para lang to impress people na sinusuporta niya ang cryptocurrency. Trump comes across the same way to me. He doesn't understand Bitcoin, but he's making a lot of money on crypto with all the donations. But I am glad that pinag-uusapan na ang Bitcoin sa political arena because that will affect the political landscape and will affect the adoption of cryptocurrency sa buong mundo. And for those that are not yet in crypto, guys, trust me, cryptocurrency and Web3 and the blockchain will change everything. It's the evolution of the internet. And it's a good evolution. It will diminish, if not eliminate, hacks. It will diminish, if not eliminate, mga security issues. And it will decentralize the money flowing in the entire internet. Ibig sabihin nun, mawawala ni mga mega corporations like Facebook and Google, and now people will all be paid for their data. So, your data on Facebook, for you sharing it, now you will be paid for it. May ganon. And you can own a piece of the internet by helping to secure the internet. So everyone will now earn a little bit. So nakakalat na yung wealth. That's the beauty of Web3, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. Kaya, huwag kayong matatakot dito. That's a good thing. So that's why I'm glad to see na mga presidentials now in the US are now pro-crypto. Or at least they're trying to pander. I don't care. But if that will affect the legislation and the regulation of crypto, by all means, let's go for it, di ba? Now, nakakatakot ang future natin. Totoo, MAGA Trump, ito si Mang Andres. Maka-Trump, si Duterte noon. Okay, si Michelle Obama may sense kung siya ang presidential candidate. Yes, but Michelle Obama said she is not running, she's not interested. For me, Trump's strategy is quite tricky. It's true, it is quite tricky. Alam mo, Trump is very politically savvy. Now, napansin ko Trump this time around is medyo tame compared to the first version of Trump. Ngayon parang mas mainstream na siya. And ngayon ang nangyayari sa buong mundo, we're becoming more right of center. Kasi I think the pendulum has shifted so far left of center na ngayon there's a majority, a silent majority that's swinging the pendulum back to now right of center na there are governments now that are far right that are winning elections is because it was so swung far left. Kaya ngayon medyo nagbabalance ito. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wins. What does that mean for the world if Trump wins? What I'm afraid of is this, that they will lessen the NATO funding or they will leave NATO. And that will open up the floodgates for Putin to want to attack now and try to invade other countries. Yun yung nakakatakot dito. Kaya Putin wants Trump to win. Because if you saw the meeting between Trump and Putin, parang Trump is too friendly with Putin that Putin can almost manipulate Trump, I think, to do his bidding. I think. Now, and not only that, remember nung panahon ni Trump na he withheld the funding the military funding of Ukraine. Tapos, hinostage yun. Ginawa niya yun na parang sinabi niya na kailangan maghanap ng mga butas kay Biden or else I won't give you your military funding. So, yun lang nakakatakot kay Trump is that he does a lot of things for his personal interests as well. Okay, but I think lang, one thing that I like about what he's doing now, may mga okay naman siyang mga plano that I think that needs to be looked at. Honestly kasi, there are some problems in the US that are very specific to the US that needs to be addressed. And I don't know if Biden is doing enough to be able to address it. Now, the problem with inflation, people are blaming Biden for it. Wow, I don't know if I can blame him completely for it. But generally kasi, there's all the debt ceiling will always go up and up. That's the whole problem of the United States issue with debt. And I remember nung pinag-usapan ko itong issue ng debt on my vlogs, I remember yung mga Duterte trolls, okay, pinagtawanan ako and they said to me, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I said kasi that the inflation problem is bad because of all the debt that governments are acquiring. At the Philippine government, I hated the fact that Duterte has over doubled our national debt. And that parang if I don't know if you guys know this 700 billion, is it 700 billion or 76 billion if I remember correctly. No, it could be 700 billion is being paid for our interest service to pay for the debt. Malaking binabayaran natin just to pay for our interest. It's huge. I don't remember the exact number. I'll look it up and I'll talk about it. But it's insane that we go to a lot of different social services. It's just used to pay for our debt. Okay, so nakakatawa lang kasi nung pinag-usapan yung debt nung time na sinasabi ang rason na ginamit sa akin is, bakit Japan? Debt to GDP ratio is over 100%. US, debt to GDP ratio is over 100%, and yet they're doing fine. So Chris Tan doesn't know what he's talking about. Excuse me, it doesn't mean because everyone else is doing it that it's the right answer or that it's healthy and correct. Majority of us are not healthy. We don't have a healthy living. Does that mean that majority of us are living properly? No, hell no. You don't base what is right and wrong on what the majority is doing. You base right and wrong on what is the right course of action based on logic, based on intellect, based on objectives, hindi based on what the majority does. Kasi kung be-basean natin sa ginagawa ng majority, that's what got us into this trouble we have in the Philippines and all over the world. Kaya nga nagtataka ko ba minsan when you use the word common sense, because common sense is not very common in my books. Diba? They should really change the word common sense. So, that's the problem I see right now, is that there is a ballooning debt problem in the States now because the US is the global reserve currency. That inflation is being exported all over the world. Apektado tayo dyan. Double whammy na yung gobyerno natin, dinoble yung utang. So ngayon, dalawa na yung nag-a-affect sa ating inflation. Kaya talagang tumataas ang mga presyo ng bilihin dito at bumabagsak ang halaga ng Philippine peso. We're about to hit 60, guys. 60 pesos to the dollar. Naalala ba yung panahon na 40 lang yan? Or na 50 pa lang yan? Ngayon, we're about to hit 60 pesos to the dollar. Okay? Now, sige, let's read some of the comments here regarding Trump. For me, Trump's strategy is strictly yes. Trump and Duterte, magsama kayo. Trump to stop war in Ukraine and have good relationship with Russia. Okay, so here's the thing about Trump and him saying that he's gonna stop the war. Alam mo, everyone saying they can stop the war. Guys, only one person can stop the war. That's Putin, the guy that started the war. And sa mga tao, na I really hope there's nobody that really is starting to believe the propaganda that Russia or that Putin is sending out there. Na they're doing it because NATO is parang encroaching on their borders. Okay, guys, NATO has never launched an attack on any country. It's a defensive alliance. And the reason it's a defensive alliance is because of dictators like Putin. Huwag natin kakalimutan yun. That Putin never, ever attacked Ukraine because of NATO. He attacked Ukraine because he wanted it to be part of the Russian Federation. Yun yung totoong rason. Because he wanted to bring back the glory days of Russia. Yun lang yun. Kaya nga inanex siya yung Crimea nung time na yun eh. 2014, he already did this. Kaya BS lang to. He is literally playing with you guys by making you believe he is doing this because of NATO, blah, 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 all of that. Those are all excuses. He is just greedy. He wants more power, more land. He wants all of the resources of Ukraine because he needs all of those resources as well. He's trying to enrich himself, not even Russia, himself. So, this talk about, oh, it's because of NATO, that's all BS, guys. Huwag tayong magpapauto sa mga ganyang